Everybody. I hope you are doing well and taking care of yourself. I also hope that you are feeling good about our semester so far and everything that we've been doing. We are getting close to the end, and so we will only have a couple more videos, but we will have some important assignments that we will do. So please make sure that you're staying on top of those things and watching your calendar and your to-do list as well. So today we're just going to have a short video about evidence-based practice. This comes from chapter 10, and you only need to read the learning objective 10 from this chapter. The rest of it is based upon therapy practices, and because that is not a scope of our work, we are not going to dive into that information. But we will talk about evidence-based, and you will be having a whole class about that later on. It is your final class, BHS 280. So this is just to kind of touch on things and to get you the basic information that you need in order to prepare for the rest of the assignments, but also as we move into client-based types of classes moving forward. So I'm going to share my screen here with you, and then we'll get into the PowerPoint. Okay. So evidence-based practice, as I said, this is chapter 10, learning objective 10. There is a YouTube video that I would like for you to watch. When I upload this lecture, YouTube will not allow me to insert a second video inside this video. So please make sure that you watch that video. It's just a little over 4 minutes, so it's not going to take a lot of your time, but it does have a lot of good information. And sometimes we need to hear a piece of information in 2 different ways, so it will set into our brains. So I'm going to try and walk through some of the things with you, but then the video will reinforce that and hopefully help you to fully understand this concept. So evidence-based practice, or EBP, sometimes it's called evidence-informed practice, so that would be EIP. It is when you integrate the best research that's available. We, as case managers, do not need to reinvent the wheel. There have been many, many people who have come before us, and they have found terrific ways to help our clients. And that's what we want to draw from. So we want to know about this evidence-based practice model. Also, we want to know all of the different types of interventions that are available to us. So all of these interventions and practices have supportive data that shows that it works with clients or that it works with specific clients, so that we are not using an intervention maybe that works better for someone with schizophrenia versus someone with bipolar disorder, etc. So the 3 pillars of what makes up something that is evidence-based practice is the best available evidence. So there have been studies, this has been used with actual clients by previous therapists, case managers, etc. Clinician expertise, so the skills that we bring into the field, the knowledge base that we have from working with different clients and different types of clients, and then also the client characteristics. There is no magic wand that we have that says if someone has bipolar disorder, we do this one thing and it makes it all better. The client is still very much involved when it comes to these theories because everybody's different. Now, there might be a toolbox of different interventions and therapies that might work well for someone with bipolar disorder, but you want to get to know your client and also have more information about their background and different types of services that they have participated in before which will help you to choose which of those tools out of the toolbox is best for this situation. And always it is used in conjunction with assessments that are done by therapists. A lot of times there are insurance regulations, so we have to watch out for those. As case managers, we really don't have to investigate what the insurance regulations are, but our treatment team will let us know if someone is involved with private insurance and they will only pay for X number of sessions or a certain type of case management or something like that. So we are really going to rely on our treatment team when it comes to that part of this makeup. So the things that we want to understand from research are that not all clients have clearly defined disorders. Mental health concerns are things that do not show up in the same way that a broken arm or diabetes does. There are a lot of characteristics between mental health disorders that are similar from one diagnosis to another. And this is where people who do the assessments for us really take their clinical expertise into account. Also, they look at different criteria of what would equal one diagnosis versus another. Also, sometimes a client will receive a diagnosis and then we attempt some medication, some interventions, and it is determined that that was not the proper diagnosis. So when you look over someone's file, if they have been in care for a significant period of time, you might see multiple diagnoses, but that could be why. Because at one time in their treatment, they were displaying items that made the assessor sway more towards one diagnosis than another. But as time went on, they recognized that this was not exactly textbook as far as a diagnosis would go. Your book talks about Arnold Lazarus, and he contends that a foundation it has to be built on the client's hopes and wishes. And when we start there, as we've talked about this semester and then all of BHS 200, we start from the client's point of view. That will help your rapport, that will help your understanding of the client, but also that engages them, which helps in figuring out which tool that we're going to use. As I said on the last slide, we can't just randomly pick an intervention. So the client needs to be involved. They need to let you know what interventions have been used in the past, what therapies they have undergone, but also we want to help the client to remain open to those interventions. So one thing that you'll run into that clients say, breathing exercises don't work for me. Well, maybe they didn't last year, maybe they didn't in a different circumstance, maybe it was a different type of breathing exercise that they had done in the past and you're asking them to do something different, but in their mind, they're like lumping together anything that involves breathing. So we want to work with them and we want to get information from them, but at the same time, both parties, case manager and client, both need to be open to revisiting some previously attempted interventions. Now, if someone has been in care for multiple years, they have tried certain interventions more than a couple of times and it's just not working, then it's just not working. And that's not a tool that is going to be helpful in their case. We need to believe them and accept that. In the end, though, professionals do want to make the final decision. With us, though, as case managers, we want to make the final decisions along with a treatment team. So we're not out in the field making road decisions by ourselves. We are a part of the treatment team. So that's why it says professionals, plural, because that means together the team will decide better interventions and maybe different things to try. So I have to think about how to say this. I think it's Beauvais and Faust. They did a really interesting study that revealed the following things that are bulleted here for us. Interventions in and of themselves are most helpful in the majority of clients. So talk therapy is wonderful, medication is extremely helpful, but they work best when done together with interventions. And so that's how case managers fit into all of this. So when we talk about the treatment team, the psychiatrist is going to prescribe the medication. The therapist is going to take care of the talk therapy. But we are involved on a more regular basis and sometimes a little bit more intimately, depending upon how much they participate in talk therapy, because of these interventions. That does not negate anybody else's role. It just hopefully shows you that we are on an equal standing when it comes to what we can bring to this client relationship. Also, clients that involve themselves with interventions have relatively quick change. Now, quick change does not mean that someone is better. That just means that maybe we have a certain situation that we're working on, and if we are willing to employ these interventions, we can start to see progress. So progress would probably be a better word than quick change. And also we need to remember that this is about specific issues. In addition, another thing that we need to remember is that solid mental health diagnoses are lifelong for our clients, unless they are something like situational depression or something that is related to a specific event. If someone has a chemical imbalance in their brain, they have a chemical imbalance, and that is a part of their physiology. And so we need to have interventions, medications, therapy, etc. Maybe not consistently throughout their life, but throughout their life, there are going to be specific times that they need interventions and those other types of assistance. Now, someone who has bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, things of that nature, they have to be on medication for the rest of their life in order to maintain the quality of mental health that they are able to get. That's where, again, we can come in as case managers and encourage them to stay on their regimens, or if something maybe stops working as well, to encourage them to speak to their physicians so that they don't just stop everything altogether. The relationship that you have with your client is so important. And when it comes to evidence-based practice, this is an area that it really shows, because if your client does not trust you, if they do not feel like you have their best at the heart of what you're doing, it is going to be very tense in order to engage with these interventions, and they may not fully participate. So this is another reason that it is so important that we have built that helping relationship and that we have good communication and are genuine with our clients. The last thing to remember from this study is that practitioners, meaning us, can learn as much from the clients as the clients can from us. So as you become more involved in the field and get more years of service under your belt, you will develop new tools within your toolbox, but also you will know and kind of have a sense of maybe this is the first tool I should pull out versus another type of intervention. You will also be able to get to the root understanding of some of these interventions more quickly. Also, you'll be able to better understand them, or explain them, I should say, to your clients, also through understanding. But there's a lot that we can learn from our clients, not only about how mental health works, how mental illness looks from one person to the next, but also better ways to use interventions. So never discount the information that your clients are giving you about how they feel in relation to the different interventions that you are working with them on. So that is the end of our video. And like I said, this is just the one little learning objective that we're going over this week. I do want you to watch that video though. It will help you to give a different perspective on this understanding for evidence-informed practice. We really need to fall back on and use the experience of people who have come before us. They have a wealth of information and they have done a lot of the trial and error. Not to say that you won't go through trial and error in your professional career, but we should rely on the experience of the people who have come before us, the people on our treatment team, our supervisors, our coworkers, to add to the experience that we personally have, whether it's through our own life, through our families, through clients that we have worked with, so that we can continue to learn and we continue to provide the best service possible for our clients. I hope you have a great week and enjoy the additional video on YouTube. Thanks. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.